Is that TJ I see in here? Can I hide from me? All right. I will, I'm going to go ahead and kind of get started, but if you need to get water or do whatever you need to do, bio break or hide from your kids like I'm doing, please feel free. And as people join, we will keep rolling. So I have a couple people who are trying to find the meeting. And so I'm going to kind of try to do, hey, TJ, I'm going to try to do a couple things at once while we get started. But I'm going to ask that everybody, at least for now, stay on mute so that we can minimize the background noise and so that you can see and hear me really well. And then when I get through some of the stuff that I have to present, then we can ask questions. You can also use the chat feature to ask questions, and Zoom keeps a record of the questions and the things that you ask. So if there's something that we don't get to, we will come back. I will come back, I will come back and make sure that the questions get answered in the follow-up email. Because if you registered for this event, you can watch the replay, which is the good news. So you don't have to take furious notes unless you want to. All right, so feel free to use the chat, ask each other questions, ask me questions. I will do my best to try to see the chat while I'm doing what I'm doing. But if you've been a member of Etsy Underachievers for any amount of time, you can find me, you can message me, you can email me. And that's another way. Ask question in the group, or you can message me directly if there's something that is a burning issue that you don't want to bring up on the call. Okay, so let's get started. Hey, everybody, welcome to what I hope will be one of many sessions that I'll be doing for the regular Underachievers group. This is the biggest mistakes that Etsy sellers make, at least in my opinion, and how to avoid them or fix them. Oops. All right, so my guess is if you're here, it's one of many things. So, and it's okay, you can resonate with all these things or none of these things. You're here because you're frustrated, you're confused, you're overwhelmed. You see, what's SEO, what's keywords, how do I optimize? Do I have to do social media? I have to do Pinterest and Instagram and the algorithm, and do I do ads, and who do I listen to, and how many different opinions.
Call out all the electoral votes he believes are unconstitutional as no electoral votes at all, in accordance with guidance from founding father Alexander Hamilton.
I'm hearing someone's news story. Sorry. So you're here because you were probably curious about what kind of mistakes you might be making as an Etsy seller. And you're probably one of these things. You're feeling like you're doing something wrong. And I know for me, that was the question I kept asking myself: what in the bleep am I doing wrong? And why is this not working for me when I was first starting on the platform? So I wanted to share some of those things today. And I wanted to sort of get your attention here at the beginning with some statistics. These were as of the end of 2020. I don't know that they've updated them yet, probably soon. In 2020, at the end of the year, there were 4 million sellers on Etsy. And that was a huge increase from the year before. I mean, huge. And again, 60 million things for sale. So 60 million plus different kinds of products for sale on Etsy. And this, if you've seen the statistic in the group, it's actually true. So what they say, and this is from the Etsy technical blog, that 65% of sellers earn less than $100 per year. And you could take that any number of ways. You can take that as maybe these are just hobby businesses, or, you could take this as a lot of people may quit before they become successful. We had a lot of people that joined Etsy in 2020 when we were all at home. And then maybe some of these people are no longer active on the platform. But I did think that was very interesting. Also, check this out, you guys. Etsy reported their revenue for 2020 was 1.7 billion with a B, okay? And that was an increase of 110% from the previous year in 2019. That's a lot. That's a lot of revenue. So that's 4 million Etsy sellers working and selling on this platform. And this is a very interesting time to be in e-commerce, both for, I mean, there's always going to be positives and negatives for any platform. But to me, I think this is really exciting. I think that as more and more people are looking for ways to make extra income and, find other ways to support themselves and their families, that we may see these numbers increase. So pretty cool. All right. So you're probably wondering, and if you're new to the group, or even if you're in the group, you may not know who I am, and that's okay, because I'm here. You can see my picture here on the slide, and I'm also the one running the Zoom meeting here. I'm the original underachiever. My name is Jessica Trueblood. Hello. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about me in case you didn't know. Even if you've been in the group for a long time, you may not know, because the group is so big, a lot about how it got started. So this is me, my shop. This is the name of my shop, True Life Concepts. I started on Etsy in 2018 and literally threw some stuff into my shop and hit publish, and then just kind of sat back and waited for the sales to roll in, and they did not roll in. So I did what a lot of us probably did, was just to go to the internet seeking answers and seeking help. And what I found was a lot of bad stuff. And I found a Facebook group, or 2,000 or 3,000 of them, where I was in and doing all the wrong things. And I was kicked out of that group because I made a statement about how everybody was just bragging, and can anyone really teach me what they did? And in this particular group, no one was teaching anyone. So I was kicked out of that group, which is fine, because I started my own group, which is Etsy Underachievers, which started at almost 2 years ago. So we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary next week, which is very exciting. I think there were like 3 people in the group that day that it was formed. So we've come a long way. And the reason why I wanted to start the group was because I felt like we don't need another group on Facebook where people just brag about how many, 6 figures they made and they're so overwhelmed. I think it's really important. And I'll cover the second bullet here in a second. I'm an educator. I have a background in adult learning. I actually have a master's of education, and I've been in the corporate world teaching and training and coaching for a really long time. And coaching is one of my passions in teaching. So I felt like there has to be somebody out there that knows more than me that can help me. And I found, a couple of people. One of them is Jen Bernardi, who is our SEO guru, and some other things. So the group grew, my knowledge grew, and the rest is history, right? I live in Colorado. I have been in Colorado for over 20 years, and I love it here. It's a really great place to be, and I'm really enjoying being in the Rocky Mountains. The name of the business that I started last year, it's called Shop Review Crew. So I went from being in the Facebook group, and while I was in the Facebook group, it was kind of like the blind leading the blind. We were all sort of in the same boat. And as my shop started to grow and I figured out some things really quickly, I changed my focus. I became the leader of the group, which I guess I always was, and started to really put together resources to help people to make sales and achieve and do all that stuff. So Shop Review Crew was formed last year when I started the Etsy coaching program. And I have sort of 2 different businesses. And then last but not least, I'm a mom. I have a 6-year-old son, and he is a lot of fun and has a lot of energy. So if he pops in here on the Zoom, I've told him not to, but we know how that goes. So I have a lot going on, and you all do too. So what I want to do is share some, in my opinion, some of the things that Etsy sellers really get wrong when they're first starting out, or even if they've been operating under incorrect information for a really long time. There are some things that I wanted to share with you. And this is, if you were in the group from the very beginning, this was the original picture for the group. I took, when I was really mad, the day I started the group, I took a screenshot of my stats and I put it as the group photo, thinking, this is like a real, FU to the world, like I'm failing in the worst way. So you can see kind of, this was an average day for me, very few views. I had no sales. I had like 24 listings, no open sales. Now this was, I just took this this year. I'm showing you my revenue. It's all about transparency. I'm never going to be a 6-figure shop. I don't want to be. I want my shop to grow and be part-time, and I want it to be manageable for me. So, there's lots of people who are making full-time income on Etsy. I think that's awesome. And maybe I'll be there someday. Maybe I will want to be there. But right now, I like that I get orders every day. My items are small and I can manage my my sales. So this is me. In 2 years, I've gotten to just over 1,800 sales merely by doing these things. And I'm going to show you in this presentation. And if you're in the Underachievers group, which if you're here, you are, those are things that I found and actually use myself. So I'm in the top 3%. I don't know, the magical 1% thing I think is a little overrated, because I've seen now how quickly you can get to that 1% without really knowing anything about SEO. And so I'll get there eventually. That's what I want to say. All right, so let's do a poll in the group. If I can find it, I want to make sure you're still awake. So everybody weigh in on this question. I probably have to stop the share here. Let me do this. My current hairdo. Joe wants to know my current hairdo. Yeah, this is my current hairdo. I haven't taken fancy pictures in a while, so yes. Okay. I will leave the poll up for a minute. Basically, are you selling on Etsy? Yes or no? It looks like most of you are. And if you're not, that's okay, because I think you might be hovering over that button like, I'm nervous, I'm scared. Can I keep up with the orders? Excuse me. Can I keep up with the orders? And this is what the poll says. There's most of you that are currently selling on Etsy, which is awesome. Let's do one more poll because I like polls. This is the trainer in me that loves to do interactive stuff. One more poll. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to selling on Etsy? You only get to choose one in the survey. So pick the one that you feel like is the most. Hey, can everybody get on mute, please? I appreciate it. At least for now. Thank you, thank you. I still hear some background noise. Okay, I'm waiting for the poll to come in. SEO, I knew this would be the winner. It usually is, but I wanted to see what else was on your mind. Okay, let's end the poll. I will share the results. So the biggest challenge, getting started, I hear you there, because sometimes the hardest part is just getting ahead or getting out of our head and saying, I'm going to start the shop, even if it's not 100% perfect. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get it going now. That's hard. SEO, huge. Taking photos, that's probably, so to me, if SEO gets people to your shop, then those other things are like photos, descriptions. Those are all sort of the next piece of the puzzle. So they're very important too. Writing descriptions, time management. Okay, cool. All right, stop sharing. I'm going to close that. Let me get back to my presentation. So yeah, and in the chat, do you guys want to tell me what you sell in your shop? You don't need to put your link or anything, but maybe just like tell me what you sell while I go to the next slide. All right. I think I have 6 big mistakes that sellers make. There are more. There are lots of mistakes that sellers make. I try to condense them to the ones that I see the most in the group. And now that I've been in a coaching role for almost 1.5 years, the things that I find that once you undo them, you can really make an impact. You can start seeing your visits and your views, and more importantly, you can start seeing sales and get that revenue coming in. Okay, so number 1, I'm going to say this and I'll own it. Selling products you don't have a passion for is the number 1 mistake that I see sellers make, which means, like, if you were like me, when I was looking to get on Etsy, I went to Google and put in easiest way to make money on Etsy. And it said, digital printable files. I think at the time, this was a couple years ago, printable files. And so I thought, great, I'm going to make some printable files. And I made some printable files. My original shop was all printables, and they did not sell. I hated making them. I was not a graphic designer. I really struggled, and my titles were all like 3 words long. So, now what I learned is that I really love working with wood. My grandfather was a woodworker, and I have all these little wooden things that he gave me. And so what gave me some peace and some healing when I lost my mom 2 years ago was working with wood. I don't know why, it just did. So I started making Christmas ornaments. That's where my passion is. Little wooden things. I paint them, I wood burn them. I find different ways to sell them in my shop. Some do really well, some don't. But my advice to you is, if you're feeling stuck or you're not happy with your shop, look at what you're selling. Don't just sell what you think people will want to buy, although you want to have a product that, if there was like a 1.B for the number one mistake, is selling things only that you think are trendy and that people want. This is a job. This is long-term. I'm in Etsy for the long term, and I want to love what I do. So I'm happy with what I do. I don't get bored. Of course, there are days when I get frustrated, but ultimately when I sit down at my work table, I'm happy about what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to look at the chat really quick, see what you guys, door hangers. Yeah. Jewelry, crochet. Oh yeah. Cool. Hey, Jamie, if you're in the Underachievers Plus group, will you give me like a #plus or something so I can recognize you? I recognize some names, but I see Joe, Jamie. Yeah. So, not everything that you sell has to be like finding joy, like Marie Kondo, but at least some of your core products should make you happy to make, and they should be something that you know how to make and that there's a market for. Okay. So let's, for some reason, my number 2, this one's big, and there's a couple of slides that go with this. Number 2 biggest mistake is not following Etsy best practices. I don't know why. Hey, Brandy, Chandra's here, Janae, Jamie, Laura. I saw TJ here. TJ and I go way back. Hey. Okay. So not following Etsy best practices is such a big miss, because they don't tell us exactly how to open your shop and start getting lots of sales. I wish that they did, but they don't. It's like they give us hints, and we have to use the hints to go on a scavenger hunt and make sense of something that was, written by a computer programmer, 10 years ago or 5 years ago, and find our way. So the group, the Underachievers group, the reason why I think our group is so different and so special is that I really work, and I'm not kidding you, I'm not just saying this, I really work hard to find information that is correct and that can be verified, either by someone at Etsy or by research that's been done by a credible source. So I'm not just, when I say fill your titles and separate them with commas, I'm not just saying that because it sounds fun, it's because those are the things that we've been told to do to the best of our knowledge. So here's some tips here. Read the handbook. I know the handbook is a lot of material. When I actually went back and read the handbook, they give you so much information about how to be successful, and they do give you clues, and they do give you obvious clues too. So read the handbook, fill out everything in your shop that is required. These are like gimmies. It's sort of like putting your name on the SAT form. You get whatever it was, 50 points. These are gimmies. Fill out your policies, fill out your about section, put up a banner, put up a logo in the icon, fill out an announcement, attach your social media at the bottom where you can add links to all of you can do Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. You can do Twitter. I think you can also do a website. Okay. So make sure that you are filling out all the things that Etsy wants you to fill out. It does make a difference. And then following the SEO guidelines. SEO guidelines can be found in many places. One of them is the handbook. You can also find them in the Underachievers Plus group in the guides. There's a lot of text there. There's graphics. You can also find them in my SEO mini course, which is a great sort of bite-sized piece of information if you're looking for something to start with. Okay, so the guidelines that I think are the most important are the ones about your titles and your tags. And then using Etsy SEO to bring traffic to your shop. And if you're not doing this, keep working on it, because once you figure this out, you can stop hustling on social media unless you like social media. You can stop blasting your link in groups and sending it like I was doing to my friends and family in the same group of people over and over, wondering why nobody was buying, because Etsy is a search platform. The reason why we pay fees, even though we may not like the fees, it's because Etsy has traffic. If you have your own website, you may be paying less fees, but you don't have organic traffic like Etsy does. So even though the platform is far from perfect, I'm here to make it work because I want the traffic. So anyway, let's talk about the SEO guidelines really quick. The ones that I think are the most important are these ones here about finding matches with things that auto-populate in the search bar and filling your titles with those things. And also filling your tags. So if a word in a buyer's search appears in the title, and this is from the handbook, by the way, title and the tags, it's considered a more relevant match, and you may get a higher ranking. So those are the two biggest things, is that you're using phrases that auto-populate. And if it doesn't auto-populate, my recommendation is don't use it. Keep looking until you find one that does. The third thing is using commas. And I mean, this was from Etsy. It says use commas. Software engineers have even said that computers like punctuation between phrases. I don't know if this is a do or die thing, but it's certainly been successful for me. And it also makes it really easy for you to copy your title and paste it into your tags very easily without having to manually cut and paste each one. So those, I think, are the thing. These are the clues that Etsy has given us about, filling your title completely, not stuffing keywords in and being ridiculous, but to pick those long keyword phrases to completely fill your titles. Okay. Because what happens is when you get frustrated, like that woman on the first page, if you're like me, when you were maybe before you found the group or before you joined the Plus group or whatever, you go to you go to Google and you type in Etsy SEO help, Etsy help, and you hit enter and you get 287 million search results. And I did this. That's how I know how many there are. But anyway, there's blogs, there's Facebook groups, including the best one. There's courses, there's articles. There are people want to sell you ads. There's people messaging you on Etsy, telling you they can get you more exposure. There's people on Fiverr, and it's everywhere you go. They know more than you do. There's YouTube videos that contradict each other. It's a lot. So if you're like me, you want to quit. And then that starts your negative thinking. You think, how the heck am I going to do this? My shop sucks. Okay. If you've ever done that, it's okay. I'll never be successful. Nobody wants to buy what I'm making. And those are the things I said to myself. You're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. You can't have an Etsy business. Nobody wants your little pieces of wood, whatever you're thinking to yourself when you're having a bad day. Sometimes you take incorrect advice. And this is kind of I'm not going to name names. This is a very well-known Etsy coach who's very well-known, who looked at my shop, and her feedback was, she looked at my listings. She said that they looked kind of good, which now I know that they didn't. And she didn't really know why I wasn't getting sales. And she said, well, maybe your items just aren't in demand. And it was crushing. And turns out she wasn't right. Turns out I just wasn't quite there yet. I hadn't quite figured out who my audience was and my pictures. But to have someone say that to you at that point, I was very vulnerable, was tough. So I don't say that to people. I mean, you'll know if your products are good quality and you'll keep working on them. And I do believe that there's a market for everything. So you'll take bad advice or mean advice, right? And then you'll watch 2,000 videos and you'll go down the rabbit hole. Another thing that we're talking about Etsy best practices is when you get hung up on eRank, Marmalade, Seller's Choice, Allura, whatever the new one is, where you get focused on, I have to get an A on this listing, and you do things that go against Etsy best practices. I mean, and this is on eRank's webpage. It's good for some things. I think there are lots of things that eRank is helpful for, but learning SEO is not one of those things. And it's because of where they get their data. Etsy does not tell eRank, hey, eRank, these are our top searched keywords for this month. They don't share that with anyone. So what eRank does is they use other unknown data to make those suggestions to you. So, once you get to a point where you already know what to use, if you use eRank for some things, the rank checker is good, spell check is good. They've got something now where you can look up customers with their reviews, whatever. But don't go into it thinking that I have to get an A on all my listings, because, guess what? My bestseller gets a C. It has always gotten a C, and it sells multiple times a week. So riddle me that. But I was so focused on it at the time that I got away from what was really important, which was sticking to what we know about Etsy. Okay. I'm going to check the chat really quick. To be fair, at the beginning, my shop did suck. Yeah. I mean, Liz, Brandy, I know my shop wasn't great, but it was for lots of different reasons. And now it's different, right? I mean, you learn, you grow, you look back. I'll show you later one of the first product photos I put in my shop. It's truly bad, truly tragic. All right, so what's the solution for this? I say this with kindness: limit the information that you take. I know that this isn't the only Etsy group out there. I'm not naive. I hope that it's one of the resources that you trust. Fact check things that you hear. Even if you want to fact check things that Jen or I say, that's fine. I mean, I love a good debate, as long as it's, with good intentions. We can talk about things. I think what I hear a lot is, well, I saw this on YouTube, you're wrong. Well, I mean, let's check the sources. So where you get your information is really important. If someone's giving you advice, some things that you can look at: do they have a shop? Having an active Etsy shop to me is really important, because how can you know the platform that you're on currently if you're not selling on it? Do they have sales? Are they active? Have they sold anything in the last 10 years? That kind of a thing. And do they use best practices in their advice? So, I left a lot of those groups early on because I was really frustrated, and I felt like I needed to, and I do this with lots of things, limit where I get my information. So if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, find a couple of trusted sources and see if that helps. Also, I have an SEO mini course. It's a little kind of bite-sized chunks. There's 3 modules, and it goes through how to write good titles, how to use your tags, what Etsy search is all about. And that'll help you understand how to put the right kinds of things in your titles. So this is a great place to start if you just want to try something, but you're not ready for our membership group. All right, third thing is, the third biggest mistake I see sellers make is ignoring facts that we know about online shoppers in 2021. And this is not an exhaustive list, but so these are things that we know about online shoppers. Online shoppers want to see lots of photos of their products, and they want to see videos. And I don't have data on whether or not videos help. All I know is that I like seeing lots of product videos, and I like seeing photos from all different angles. So if you have a listing, or all of your listings with one photo, it's time to add some pictures, add videos. I know it's tedious. I just went through and did all new photos for my shop. It took me like 3 weeks because I took pictures at the same time every day. It's hard, but it's worth it. Think about if you went into a retail store and you had, and I'll show you pictures in a minute, where you went into a retail store and they had poor lighting, and there was one of those bulbs that was flickering, and, there were cockroaches and stuff and strange things. It would make you not want to buy there or spend your money there. So think about, we don't have the option of being in front of people. We get a split second of their time. They're on their smartphones, right? So people are on their smartphones shopping more now than they were a couple of years ago. People use their phones. Make sure you look at your shop from a smartphone view. And if you don't have a smartphone, borrow one, because you need to see what your shop looks like, how big is your banner, and your photos, which look fine on a computer, are now going to be itty bitty tiny. So what might have worked on a large 20-inch monitor like I have now is not going to work on a tiny little screen. Photos are smaller. Also, you only have a few seconds to grab the buyer's attention. not like in a store where you can, lure them in or bring them in, or this is, if someone does find you on Etsy search, they're scrolling and there's hundreds of other listings and yours needs to grab their attention. So if you ignore those facts, you'll be missing things like having photos that are light and bright and free of clutter. Okay. And I was guilty of staging my products to death with, sprigs of, baby's breath and flowers and, rose petals or whatever. I'm being facetious, but putting too much in the photo so that when you're scrolling, the item is lost. Again, it's very small. Shoppers buy with emotion and justify with logic. This is really interesting. I read an article about psychology and buying, and what happens is that we're looking for, when we're buying, we're looking for the so what. If my product is eco-friendly, okay, who cares? What's the benefit of something being eco-friendly? Well, it's, my products don't have any plastic or whatever it is, or if your earrings are nickel free. Well, okay, so what? Well, it makes it so that, you won't have any allergic reactions. Those are the benefits. So don't just think about the features like, oh, it's 3 inches long. It weighs, half a pound. It's made of resin and metal. You need to think about, why would someone feel invested enough in whatever you've told them about your process and you, that they will buy with emotion and then later think, oh, that was such a great deal. And oh, well, they're eco-friendly, or, well, that's nickel free. Okay, so don't forget those things. I'm going to check the chat. Oh, yeah. Okay. I love that I can trust your group. I'll go, and here's the thing. If Etsy changes their tune and suddenly they publish something else, we will pivot and we will go that direction. They haven't changed it. This is the other thing. The algorithm has not changed in many years. Now they tweak it like all platforms tweak, but they haven't changed the algorithm in a major way in several years. So every time someone says, oh, the algorithm's changed, it makes me cringe. Like, we don't want to undo the work that we've done so hard to get there. So again, be checking your facts, and don't forget about, we're online and we have to do some things that are a lot harder than if we were at a table at a craft show. Okay, here's the remedy for some of those things. Fancy equipment is not needed. And I have a smartphone. I have a tiny little tripod. I have windows. I use good lighting. You can buy a ring light or pull your items up next to a window. Like, I'd have like a little cart and I just roll over next to the window. Or I have done it in my kitchen where I get the best light. So you do what you can with what you have. You don't need to have an expensive phone or a studio, or even you can get a light box for $15. I can recommend one. I have a phone stand. I also recommend, with your backgrounds, light colors, smooth surfaces. Faux fur and feathers and things maybe are fun, but they don't always look great when they're in a photo. Sometimes they can look dark or dingy, or that then makes your eyes go to something else besides what it is that you're selling. Remember, your item is the star, and it should be front and center with very little distractions. All right, I use the editing software. This comes with the iPhone. I have whatever iPhone I got as a hand-me-down from my husband. I just use this. You can edit your photos, and all the photos I have in my shop are all done with free software. But you can use Canva, you can use, Pixar. I don't know, you guys, if you have some good suggestions about photo editing softwares, drop them in the chat, because I have no clue. I use this, and until the day that I don't need it, I'm going to use it just fine. Okay. You ready for this, you guys? This was the first listing. And now, I said I had some digital products. I did. The first Christmas that I was making ornaments, this is just 2 years ago. No lie. This was a thumbnail photo in my shop. You can't see it, but this was a white plastic Tupperware lid that I had all my crafting supplies in, and I put it on the countertop and tossed these little snowmen in it and just took pictures and then uploaded it right to Etsy. Did this set come with 3 snowmen? No, it did not. It came with 1. Don't ask me why. So, I mean, I look at this now and I cringe because now I know that this was cut off. It's dark. And when you see the full shot, there's like lint and there's like a, scratch on this lid. Terrible. And if this was in a store, nobody would buy it. So this is my photography now. I've come a long way. I've gotten some help. I've learned a little bit about my phone. This was taken in my house on a wooden tray with a fake plant and really good lighting, and it zoomed in. And I'm telling you, you can do this. Even if you go through several iterations and you learn and you, like I did, I quit. I had my last pictures in place for a really long time and they were okay. And then I wanted to kind of step it up. So this is me doing it better. So there are lots of people in the group that are way smarter than me and have lots of great ideas. So we can talk about it in the group too. What are the ways that you all get the best photography? Adobe Lightroom is free. Okay, some folks are cute cut photo boxes. I do have a photo box recommendation that I can make. Remind me. I have like the one that I use, that I have used. I didn't use it for these, but I have used it, and I have a little phone stand. They're both very inexpensive. Because if you're like me, I wanted to keep my profits for making more Etsy products. So I tried to do things as inexpensively as I could at first. Okay. Let me check our time. Okay, moving right along. Taking a sip of water. Number 4, this is a big one. Having unrealistic expectations, and you know who you are. I was one of those people. And I'm not kidding when I told you I put my first shop together. I went to sleep. I woke up in the morning and I looked at my shop and I didn't have any sales, and I was shook and then heartbroken, because in my mind, this was what everybody was saying was the way to make money. And I just did it, and it didn't work 24 hours later. All right. So this is, oops. Oh, those good tips. I'll have to come back to the tips later because I have to drive. It's too easy for me to get distracted. Okay, so listing and leaving, which is what I did. List and then peace out, walk away, and then you come back and you expect your shop to be doing well when you've done nothing in it. Counting only on social media. Now, I have a tough time with this because I don't like social media. I like sharing pictures, and I like to kind of play. I don't want to be on social media every single day, making 5 reels a day and all this stuff. That's just not me. So I chose this platform because I didn't have to do as much social media. Now, I mean, I think for me, 25 to 30% of my traffic comes from other places but Etsy, like social media, direct links. I do some email marketing. That's okay. So counting only on social media, I think in the beginning is how a lot of us get our sales. And then at some point you should be able to ease up on that, because grinding and posting multiple times a day and constantly, doing things expecting a return can be very frustrating and very demoralizing. So, don't put all of your hopes on social media. In fact, I don't want you to. Giving up after a week, 2 weeks, a bad review. We all have bad days. And if it's been a week and you don't have any sales, that's okay. I think I went 6 weeks without a sale, and that first one was from my mom. Love that. But and then I reimbursed her for that sale. So I wouldn't, I wasn't bragging too much about it, but I wanted to get a sale in the books, and then I reimbursed her. So that's my shameful story. So don't worry, it's okay. And just because you see someone else killing it, which is the next bullet, comparing your shop to someone else as well. I have a friend who sells on Etsy and she got 5 sales her first day. Well, great. That's different. You're probably selling different things. You have different skills. Maybe she had all her family members buy. Maybe she has a large Facebook group and she could get a boost in her sales that way. You don't know what's happening in someone's shop. Even if you look at eRank and you see that they have, I looked yesterday, the top seller had 2,500 sales on Monday. Okay, great. Well, that's not me. I'm not, Planner Kate or Caitlin Minimalist. That's not me. So why would I compare myself to them? A lot of people have been on Etsy longer than me. This is their full-time job. They have products that cost more. They have more products. They have really large social medias, and that's okay. So comparing yourself only gets you into a place where you feel like you failed when you haven't. The other thing that I see people doing is focusing on daily views and visits, or only one statistic. And I will say this, listen, this is really important. Views and visits don't matter, especially on a daily basis. I don't care about views and visits. I want sales. And in fact, so maybe I get an average of 2 or 3 sales a day. Right now it's a little bit more, but during the rest of the year, I never get more than 60 views a day. And I have multiple sales, because the people that are entering my shop are the ones who are looking for what I'm selling. And I've honed that over the last 3 years. I'm okay with that. So if you're looking at your shop and you're refreshing your statistics every 30 minutes and you're watching that number, stop. This is me telling you, stop that, please. It will crush your soul. And those numbers are never quite right. And they don't always equal what's on the website, and you can't make sense of them. And then you look at your own shop and you want to see if the numbers go up, and you ask your mom to look, and did the numbers go up? Once you stop looking at those stats every single day, it will set you free. And I'm not kidding. If you need to look at your stats, do it on a weekly or monthly basis. Okay. So you can go in on the app and you can change the settings so that it only shows you 30 days or a week versus every single day. And that way you won't be expecting that every single day will be the same. Just because you had 5 sales yesterday, today I got 0 sales. That's okay. It's ebb and flow, and you won't be able to explain it in any satisfying way. Excuse me. Or if you only focus on conversion rate, that people get really hung up on conversion rate. It's in there, it's in the mix, but my conversion rate fluctuates. I look at it really like once a quarter at the end of the year, like in a couple of weeks, I'll pull it and I'll look at it for the year, and I'll look at it from last year and say, it looks, less or more or different or the same. And do I feel like there's anything that influenced that? There probably is. Are people looking more at my shop? Well, I have a lot more direct links to my shop out there than I did last year. So the conversion rate is just really one number. And I don't want you to get so focused on it that you get crestfallen every day when you can't get to that number in your head that you feel like you need to have, which, just because I know someone will ask, for a new shop, guilty. For a new shop, it is 1 to 3%, they say, is about average. And then for shops that have been around a while, anywhere from 3 to 6% is pretty average. But again, I look maybe once a month. I have a stat sheet. If you're in the Plus group, we do a monthly stat report where you write down all your statistics for the month, and you just look at them. And if you start to see a trend going one way or the other, you might do a little bit of a course correct, but it's not enough. In my opinion, it's not worth getting kind of down in the weeds with it every single day. Please trust me on that. All right, so the remedy for this, we just talked about: use social media in your overall strategy, not as your entire strategy. And do social media because you like it, not because you think you have to, or you're trying to compete or be like someone else, or, well, so-and-so said that I have to do 3 reels a week. I hate Instagram reels. I'm just not a reels person. So I'm not going to do them. I'm not going to try to, make myself miserable. And I talked to someone in the Plus group. We had every month there's a live training. And yesterday I didn't do a topic. We just did like office hours. And a woman from Spain was on, and she said, how am I supposed to be on all these platforms at the same time? She says, I'm exhausted. You don't have to be on all of them. In fact, I don't think that, what's the jack of all trades, whatever. It's sort of spreading yourself thin so that you're not going to be effective at anything. And I told her, maybe pick one. Start with Pinterest, or start with, if you like Instagram, start there. If you like, Twitter, start there. And don't beat yourself up for not being on all platforms, because that is really hard. And if you're doing that, I applaud you and I want to talk to you. All right, so give yourself time. Starting a business is hard. There are no shortcuts. And I think hang on, there's a small person coming in. Nope, Hi, bud.
Mommy.
Wait, hang on. I'm on my call. Can you come back in a little bit? Give me 15 minutes.
I need to get the candy thing.
Okay, you can have one.
I can't get them.
Off the tree? Okay, I'll help you in 15 minutes.
No, get an Oreo.
I'll help you in 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, that's my kid. You can close the door, please. Motherhood, am I right? Thank you. Okay, so like I said, motherhood, give yourself time. Starting a business is hard. There's no shortcuts. The people that you see who their businesses blow up on social media, it's not always what it seems. There are lots of people that are successful, but we don't know why they're successful, or they got lucky with a video and they get a lot of sales and then it goes back down. So, there's no shortcuts. You still have to do the work. Don't set the unrealistic expectation or set comparisons. What you see can be deceiving. In fact, I was at a craft show a couple weeks ago, my first one in like 2 years, and the woman across from me had an earring stand. And she said she had an Etsy shop, and she had thousands of sales, but she has a large Facebook group. All of her sales are through that Facebook group, and she just uses Etsy to collect payment and sales tax. So it's deceiving. You'd see her shop and think she's killing it on Etsy. She's killing it on Facebook, right? It's not always as it seems. Everybody's talking about kids. Okay, so I'm not the only one. Hey, I feel that. Jack of all trades, master in them, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Thank you, Joe. Yes. Point is, what appears to be this person is running this business, maybe their daily life is miserable and maybe they're not making any profit. So stop looking at daily stats. Okay, this one's big. I want to make sure we get to it. Not treating your shop like a business. Pricing your items correctly. I cannot stress this enough, and I will say it until I am blue in the face. I am on Etsy to make a profit, even if it is a small profit, even if it is, less than whatever. I want to make money. I'm not giving my products away. If I did, I would be still giving them away. So make sure you price yourself correctly. Pay yourself a living wage. And whatever that wage is, there are resources that if you're in the Plus group, I have some information about finding out what's your labor rate in your city, but figure out some kind of a way to pay yourself for your time. It's not just your materials. Not paying attention to Etsy fees is tough because, in my opinion, Etsy is very transparent about their fees. I've never seen a hidden fee on my statement. Now, I don't always like that I got charged a fee, but it's not a secret. If you land on the platform and it takes you a couple of months to get sales, you usually end up owing some money for a period of time, and that stinks. It's the cost of doing business. And once you start making sales, you will be getting paychecks from Etsy versus you paying them. So make sure that you spend time looking at the fees, download your statement and go through each one and try to understand what comes into it, tracking all your revenues and expenses. This is a huge one. Even if you are not making a ton of profit, you still need to keep track of the things that you spend on your business and the money that you make from your business. Okay. And then also you got to invest in your business, which is hard because many of us are running very tight margins, and we are doing this to make money for our families, and it's hard to invest. All right, so let me show you this quick example of how I learned that I was not making any money on Etsy after my first 6 months in business. This case in point, this was these are my old pictures, by the way. This one was not a great one. You can see it's like tilted and at a weird angle, but I've learned. So I had these spatulas. I was charging $17.95 for them. And when I looked at my statement and I really pulled out all the fees and I looked at the materials, so these are the different fees here, and you get these on your statement. Selling fee, there was a shipping fee, even though I use shippingeasy.com, Etsy still charges you for that. And then there was a restock fee. So what I realized was I wasn't making any money, or not enough. So this is the sale price, materials, shipping fee. I was doing free shipping at the time. So I was paying $3 for a label back when shipping was $3. This was my profit. It's not bad. It's not what I wanted. I wanted more of a profit for the work because I was spending half an hour on these spoons or whatever. So I did the math, found a pricing calculator, and I raised the price. That's a pretty big increase. I also changed the shipping from free shipping to the seller pays for shipping. I'm sorry, the buyer pays for shipping. And it's worked brilliantly for me. Materials are exactly the same. I made almost $10 more profit this way, because now I am including my labor and my time in the price of the item. And a lot of people like to argue with this, and let's message me. Let's talk about your pricing, because if you're not getting paid, it's going to be a tough road. It's going to be burnout. It's going to be overwhelmed. You know, like my husband said, what's your profit margin? I didn't know. I was just making stuff, but now I'm running a business and I know how much my profit margin is. And I know how much to set aside for taxes. And I know that I need a, you know, X, Y, and Z. So anyway, hopefully this helps you see that it is really important to consider your time as something that's worthy of being paid for. Okay, I can't get out of this. Remedy, write down your business goals. Expect delays. It's not a race. I mean, I went 6 months without really tracking any profit. I wouldn't recommend it, but expect mistakes, learn, get better. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, because again, you don't know what other people are doing. You don't know how they get their sales. They could be running $25 a day Etsy ads. And so it brings in way more than they're spending, but you won't see that. You only see the number in their shop of how many sales they've gotten. Plan for your investments. The first thing I ever bought was a label printer. I bought a used Dymo and it died on me. And then I now have a Rollo, which I'm team Rollo. I saved for a couple of months to buy a label printer. I needed a new printer. I need ink, you know, advertising. When you want to do advertising and when you're ready, when your SEO is in really good shape, you want to be able to afford the ads. You don't want to just be losing money every month. So you do it with a plan. Paper and Spark, I invested in that. Those are financial spreadsheets that download data from Etsy and they tell you what your revenue and your expenses are. And most importantly, what you're going to be paying taxes on. SEO rewrites from Jen Bernardi. We love Jen. And I freely admit that when I was first starting, she wrote many of my listings and helped me to become what I am, a successful shop owner and now someone who coaches others. So that was an investment. It was really hard for me to make that investment. There was no Underachievers Plus when I was in business. I wish there would have been, because this is something you can expense it, by the way. If you're in the US and Canada, at least, you can expense a membership. You get access to tools and training and resources and people who can give you the answers so that you don't have to go to Google and you don't have to hypothetically not pay taxes your first year, like I didn't, because I didn't know. I don't recommend that either. Anyway, so you're probably wondering, what's this Underachievers Plus thing that you're talking about? And there are many here on the call that are in the group. It is a group that focuses on coaching and training. It's a training portal. It's a private Facebook group. We have a group Pinterest board. We also have business experts in different areas of, you know, social media. And there's CPAs in the group from different countries. There are people focused on photography. There's Jen, SEO wizard, and they can help you. And sometimes it's hard in large groups. Like I love our group and it is amazing and it's getting large. So for those that want to, I guess, cut to the front of the line, there's a resource that's available. It's a membership, so you can join anytime you want. You can cancel anytime that you want. Okay. This is just a quick look. This is what the portal kind of looks like. There are lessons across the top. Under each one of these lessons, there's probably 6 or 7 different modules full of videos and worksheets and articles and more videos and fun stuff. There's also monthly live training where all the training that happens live is recorded and put into here so that you can watch it if you are unable to attend. We also have financial legal resources, including like a lawyer's name. There's some stuff in here, you know, things like an Amazon list of things if you want to buy a light box or you want to, you know, whatever, do that. And then this is the billing portal. Oops, yeah, see, look at me in my animation. I get so excited. And then this is sort of a breakdown of what gets covered in the group. I put the link in the chat. I'll do it here in a minute again, but by far, this is the biggest bang for your buck out there on getting everything that you need in one place and having access to people that can help you get answers. All right. I've been through lessons 4 times. Yeah, I know. It's so worth the investment. Where can I buy the Etsy calculator? I have one in my shop. If you want mine that I created for myself, you go to my shop, the True Life Concepts. Here. Now you're all going to go to my shop. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to take my conversion rate. If you message me, you could go to my shop and I have the Etsy pricing calculator there. You can put in any dollar value. You can also tweak your margins, and it will help you understand how to price your items so that you can get maximum profit. All right. So the last thing, this is number 5. Sorry. One of the biggest mistakes also is believing those myths. There are a lot more than this, but I just grabbed the ones that I hear the most. Etsy is too saturated. SEO takes too long to work. You have to hustle every day, all night, burn in the midnight oil to be successful, or I don't have time. You know, the only thing holding you back is you. So the remedy for this is don't believe the myths and the rumors. Fact check. Read the group guides, never give up. If I had given up back in, 2.5 years ago, none of this here, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. And I wouldn't have found what is now 2 passions for me is Etsy and teaching, bringing my worlds together. So don't give up. If you're ready to give up, message me. we'll work through it. Remember why you started. Why did you start a business to begin with? Why did you want to be on Etsy? What do you love about what you do? And go back and revisit that and try to remember your why. We have a section in the Plus portal about finding your why. It's one of my favorite videos, my favorite modules, because you can forget when you're in the weeds, your kids are screaming, coming and asking for candy canes, and this is happening. You got to do this. You'll forget, why am I doing this? Don't forget. Ask for help. There are lots of resources available. Invest in yourself. I have a couple of resources there's free resources. There's really inexpensive resources all the way up to doing things one-on-one. It kind of depends on what your budget is and how much help you need. And then the Plus group is for new sellers, seasoned sellers, frustrated sellers, sellers who want to get more sales, motivated sellers, sellers in other countries, sellers who sell digital items, sellers who sell artworks, who sell mugs, who sell jewelry. It's for everybody. It's not a quick fix. It is not. You can join for as little as long as you want, but it does take a while to get through all of the stuff in there. So if you're joining hoping to get 100 sales by next week, I don't know if that's possible. It might be. I would love it if it was for you, but being realistic is a part of the big picture. Okay, where my mouse is stuck. Hello. Yeah. So this is sort of how I went from 0 to 840 sales in 1 year, was taking these things and running with them. All right. Let me check the chat. Gotta run. Thanks. I lost your audio. Okay. You're fine. Thank you. So worth the investment. Yeah. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully you feel some reignited passion for Etsy if you're struggling. And I will, what's the best, that's the best question ever. What is your why? Yeah, Linda, that, one of the things that I really love about, one of the things I really love about Etsy is seeing people's stories when they, when I go to someone's shop, I'm doing a shop review, which I do, and I scroll down to the bottom and I look at your about section where people have the story about how they started. I have my story in there about losing my mom and being lost and needing crafting because I needed to have something that was going to, carry me through a very challenging time. I love reading stories. Why should you share that? Well, because it's what makes Etsy different than going to Amazon or going to, Alibaba and buying a bunch of, keychains, or I could go to Etsy and buy one that is from someone with a really great story who spent time hand making it. And I think that's why we're here, because we love the create and we love the community. Well, you just sold me, just joined. Yeah, baby. Come on in. Hey, Julianne's here. One of my favorite success stories. Yeah. So I hope that a couple of things. If you're struggling, reach out, ask for help, use the group. You can message me. I can't promise you that you're going to get, you know, a free one-on-one or anything, but I get messages every day, and I spend a lot of time just trying to help people in the best way that I can. And if you're feeling like all the work that you're doing is not paying off, it does pay off. You know, I was looking at Michelle, she's in the Plus group. She's been in the Plus group since the beginning pretty much. And last year she was posting every single day, and she was just like at her wit's end, just ready to quit. And this year she's posting that she's got multiple sales every single day, and she's selling jewelry, which is very competitive. It makes me so happy because she went from, I'm going to quit, and she took a break, came back to it, didn't quit, almost quit, you know, had a breakdown. And now she's getting over the hump, and she's getting lots of sales now. So when you get there, it's completely worth it. So, I mean, I can hang out for a little bit. If anybody has questions, I've kind of been watching the chat, but if anyone has questions, they can come off mute or they can put them in the chat. I'm at your disposal. I'll just drink some water because my throat's dry.
I'll just say thank you. This was very encouraging. I had one shop that I opened where I had 0 sales. And now I have another shop that I opened in May, and I'm at 50 sales.
Woohoo!
I didn't do anything that you just said. So I'm a teacher that just got displaced because I'm not vaccinated. And so I'm like, this is my opportunity to go full head on. And this was all totally encouraging. So thank you, and I appreciate.
Of course.
And I'm probably going to join your Plus group.
I think you should. Well, and so you've been successful, and you haven't done all the things that I mentioned. And imagine how successful you could be if you tweaked a couple things too. I mean, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be joining soon.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Let me see. I'm looking at questions. Bye. Okay. Question here is, take advantage of asking. Yep. After redoing your tags and titles, how long do you give it before revamping them again? That's a tough question. I mean, I could look at your titles and tags and tell you if they're in good shape. This is my story. I had Jen right early on, very early. I had like 20 sales. She rewrote some of my listings. She does SEO rewrites, and I felt like they were in really good shape, and nothing happened for about 6 weeks. And I almost changed them back because I was so nervous. And I thought, why am I not blowing up yet? For me, it took a long time. I was undoing 2 previous years of really bad SEO. I was blasting my I was blasting my shop link in all those Facebook groups that you should not do. I didn't even talk about that. Anyone and everyone that was in the world was seeing my shop. And so I think it just took me a long time for my shop to kind of heal from being in, I was selling different products to doing a complete pivot. And suddenly I was not sharing my shop with anyone that didn't want to see it. And it made a huge difference, but it took like 6 weeks, and then sales started to kind of slowly roll in. If it's been a month and it's not a holiday shopping season and you're not seeing any change, then it might be time to redo. Maybe check out the on that link, the SEO mini course. You'll know once you see there's a sample of an optimized listing in there, and how to find the best keywords. You should be using gift phrases and occasion phrases in your listings. Don't wait too long, because that's just time that you'll be spending.
I want to give some preference to the question because it was asked by me. I did have Jen do 5 of my listings, and I did some multiple days of keyword research. I make sure that I have my gift phrases in there, and I spent multiple days in October doing everything. And I really haven't seen a change even as the holiday season approaches. So I'm just wondering if maybe January would be a good time to go back and maybe take a peek again. I don't want to do it every 2 weeks, but is 3 months, maybe pushing it, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing, is you can change things too much. If you've given it a couple months and you're not seeing, then and it doesn't mean that it's it could be your titles and your tags are fine, but something else is in the way.
Yeah,
You
I've
know,
changed up
maybe,
my shipping profiles too,
okay.
as well as, started switching out some photos and things like that. But all of the feedback that I have been getting through the group is that everything does look good. So I'm just wondering, like at what point I'm considering maybe taking a little bit of vacation time for a couple of weeks and then coming back with fresh eyes to see if I
Yeah.
can maybe see something to revamp. I'm just I feel like I'm stuck and I'm at a point of like, okay, other than making product and listing,
Sure.
what is a good time to try this again?
January is a great time because it'll traffic naturally slows for retail in January. So if this is your first, fall, winter season, it's okay. It will slow down and then retail's ebb and flow. It's a great time to look at your listings. If you want to message me or email me, I can take a look at your shop. I mean, I think people in the group really mean well, and sometimes they don't always know what to look for.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only, a handful of us moderators and admins. So if you want to message me, either on Facebook or you can jessica@shopreviewcrew.com, I'll take a peek. And then it's never bad to wait till January to look at things, but it could be something else too.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right. So how do you price your items to give yourself a decent profit while still staying competitive? This may be unpopular. I don't look at my competitors' pricing, you guys. I never have. What they're doing has nothing to do with me. I mean, obviously, I don't want to be so far off that I'm sticking out like a sore thumb, but I'm trying to position myself as high quality, handcraft. All my stuff's hand burned and painted. And I don't really, if what someone makes or buys and then resells doesn't really affect me. So that's a hard question. I don't look at my competitors' pricing. I did maybe at the beginning when I was setting like my margins, but I try to make my products look quality. I try to have really good descriptions, and I have a price point that is, I have sales built in. So I run a sale every month. It's usually like a different percentage and it changes, but because I've set my pricing high enough, I can run a sale. So that I can show up in that on sale filter on Etsy. I think that's really important as well. So it's hard. I know. I don't want to be the low cost leader. In the beginning, when I wasn't making any money, I was making sales, but it was empty to me because I felt like I'd given away all my time with no return. So yeah, I don't have an easy answer. Okay, I do a rough random check. Yeah. I mean, there's no easy answer. If you price your items and you really do research on your labor and how much your materials cost and all of that. No, get out, please. I'm almost done, babe. Thank you. And you still feel like you're too expensive, then it's time to look at, are my materials too expensive? Could I streamline my processes in any way? Could I outsource some of this? Could I find someone to do some of this work that is cheaper than me? You know what I'm saying? Like there are ways to tweak that. I don't think you should just lower your price though to try to compete with other shops. You can stand out in other ways. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to catch all the still feel like my SEOs need work. Yep. Most of your salesmen and craft shows. Yep. Not sure how to add a video. I take a video when I do my photography, Linda. I take my shots, my different angles. I, try to put it next to something for a size. And then the last thing I do is I take a short video with my phone, like 10 seconds. And then I just upload it from my phone to, you can't do it on the app, but you can do it on the Etsy seller website. So you log in and you can upload everything there. That way I don't have to try to transfer it. That's how I do it. But my videos aren't fancy. You can make videos that are fancy, but I'm not fancy. Any other questions? Let's see. I feel like I'm missing some. Yeah, I stopped. Someone asked the other Jessica, stop blasting my shop everywhere. So yes, 100%. Those groups where everybody just throws their links in a big pile, and someone's like, I'm looking for a gift, and then it's like 400 people just throwing their links. I don't do that. I stopped doing it a long time ago when I met Jen Bernardi, and she said, don't do that, it's terrible for your shop. So I stopped doing that. Everyone on Facebook is not my ideal customer, and for the group that we're in, the Underachievers, other Etsy sellers are not my ideal customers either. We're just like, selling to each other is not the way to get sales, or, you know, long-term consistent sales. If someone buys something because they saw it in a group, that's great, but I want long-term organic sales. So the less that you blast your link, the better. Now, putting it on social media, that's different. You have your Instagram, you have your followers, but I would be very protective of your shop link when you're in a very public Facebook group. Okay, yeah, it blew my mind. It makes sense, because if, you know, we have 24,000 people in the group and 3,000 people just click your link because they're nosy, like we all want to see each other's shops, and they go to your shop and they're like, oh, nice. And then they leave. They don't buy anything. That happens over and over and over. It tells Etsy that the products that you have are not converting, and that maybe they're not that great. And so you might get bumped down in the rankings. So anyway, that's one of the reasons why we don't allow it in the group, and why we try to keep people. Do I have any podcast recommendations? Whoa, you know, Etsy has a podcast. It's interesting. They say things that they contradict in the handbook, which is tough, because then people come to the group and they're confused. But yeah, I mean, I'll have to think. Not a huge fan. Yeah. I mean, I listen to like true crime podcasts, and I listen to, there's a women's financial coach that I listen to, her first 100K. She has a podcast. I mean, that's what I listen to. I don't want to listen to Etsy. My whole life is Etsy. So I don't have a podcast, but I have thought about it. It's just too many things. So what's it called? It's called Her First 100K. Her name is Tori, and she is a young woman who has learned how to build wealth, and she's awesome. All right, well, my son is about to come in here again, so I need to go get this kid a candy cane. Thank you all so much. This was really fun. We'll do this again, but if you have questions, you know, I put the link. Join the Plus group, join, you know, buy the course, or continue to be in the group and doing what you guys are doing, which is really trying and learning every day. And I applaud you for that. It's tough. It's tough out there. Etsy has made all these, the other Jessica, best name ever. Etsy has made all these new rules for the reserves and star seller, which I'm not a fan of either. It's tough. So I appreciate all those that want to make it work, and that aren't just in the group to complain and trash the site, because, you know, anyway, I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. I'll see everybody soon. Let me know if you need help. Bye.